Hello, I am a National Novel Writing Month veteran, I find myself. I started participating in NaNoWriMo in 2011, where I completely crashed and burned that first time, 1,129 words. I don't know if I got out of like the first day of NaNoWriMo. Past that, starting in 2013, I have participated every year since till now, 2023, and I have won, as they say in NaNoWriMo, which means I have written 50,000 words in that month. And I figured it was not a bad idea to maybe just do a video of how and why I do NaNoWriMo. Whether that is passing off cautionary tales or passing off just sort of like, well, why the hell do I do this and how do I do it? How do I I've now seemed to have fallen into a pretty easy pattern of, yeah, the question of whether I'm going to get 50,000 words is besides the point. I was like, yes, of course I'm going to get 50,000 words. I just thought I'd maybe just talk about how and why I do NaNoWriMo. So yeah, starting off, how do I do NaNoWriMo? Well, for me, probably the most important thing for NaNoWriMo is to prepare, to take at least the month beforehand to come up with the idea of what I'm going to write, and then come up with just sort of a general arc of the story, and then to come up with an outline of, okay, scene by scene, how is this story going to play out? And I'll go back to this because I used to be a seat of the panther, but and then basically work on that outline for like all of October is to try and really hammer out that outline. That I find is the real secret to success if you want to be writing fairly quickly in the month of November and not having to have taking long stops. Now, I started off as a seat of the pantser where you just sort of like, you start off with the first line, maybe you've got a vague idea and you just go. Except what I find is that I am not that clear of a fellow when it comes to having ideas. And I would get like, sometimes I would get like one day in and it would just wildly career off target. And I would find myself just careering around the entire month, even if I got it all done, which after 2011, always got it done, but I would end up with such a complete dog's breakfast because you are writing so quickly. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to stop and think about this for several weeks and then come back to it with my perfectly crafted little idea. It's like, no, you need to get that shit out of the way well in advance. So I really try and make an outline. Now that said, I think when I started off as a seat of the pantser, it's like, well, oh, the creativity is when I actually start writing, which actually I do agree is the case. Even with a detailed outline, I find that I get a lot of ideas still while I'm writing within the month of November because that's the fun part. I will get to that in the why part, but I still come up with tons of ideas. I still have changes of direction, but having that outline is so crucial to being able to try and come out of the month with a semi-coherent first draft. It is always a first draft. I am definitely somebody who lays down the first coat of paint, which has got holes in it and places I've missed, and I've used the wrong color in places. This is the first base coat, and then I will be continuing to edit it as the year goes on. But this is my first draft outline, and then for the month of November is to get that first draft to get that first draft going. So yeah. So once I've done all that, before the month starts, I go on to the NaNoWriMo .org website and create a project. I've already signed in. I have my thing. I'll make a project, give it a title, Consider doing a cover. I can doodle, so I can very quickly make myself a cover. I don't have to waste a ton of time on that. Nothing is going to be for the ages, but something that's like, this is my project. And they do just talk about how having a cover can actually psychologically help you. I don't know if it does for me, but it was a fun thing to do. So I made a cover. And then you get into the month of November, where you've got you just write I for me is I write every single day in the month of November. Luckily I'm a Canadian, so I don't have to deal with Thanksgiving, but I'm a human being. I'm fully employed. I work an 8-hour job. It's not 9 to 5 for me. It's a 3 to 11 job. Every 5 days a week with the weekends off. So I you know, you've got to write every single day, and I think the bare minimum they say to get it done in the month is 1,666 or 67 words a day. That isn't my bare minimum that I give myself, but that is the bare minimum. If you're going for that 50,000 is what you're going for. And for what how my schedule looks like is I get up early earlier in the morning than I usually do, and I write for a block, like hopefully an hour, maybe even a little bit more than an hour, first thing in the morning. Usually by that point, I can actually bang out more than 1,666 words. Excuse me, in that day, and then my day begins. There's all the stuff I have to do before I go to work. If I usually what I usually do is I catch another half an hour in there where I can get another half an hour chunk of writing done, and then throughout the rest of the day, when I get home, or maybe just before I go to work, I get another 15 minutes in, and then when I get home, I'm tired, but I could just do another 15 minutes, which all those little 15 half an hours and 15 minutes, they really add up. And that's where you've got to outline, so where you are in the story, what you're going to write next, and you're kind of maybe half thinking about it. So when you sit down or stand up I have a standing modify my own kind of rough-hewed standing desk here. I can just immediately get in and write. I don't have to get myself in the mood or anything like that. It's like, no, I know what I'm going to write next, and I write it. Or I write whatever more brilliant thing came up in my head. But that gets me up to about 3,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 words a day. I find, especially at the beginning of the thing, it's like 3,000 or a little bit more than 3,000. And I really try and kind of push that, especially at the beginning, because you're always more enthusiastic at the beginning, and it pushes you. So it gives you more and more buffer. That's the thing that I love about NaNoWriMo is it has a little chart, and you can see there's the kind of steady line. And I'm always trying to make my line go like this, go up. Which it has for this month. This is November the 19th. So it's theoretically I should be at one point. I've won already. I am at 55,678 words for the day at the moment. I probably will slip in and get a couple more words done, but even if that wasn't the case, getting a buffer so that if something happens, life happens, and you get knocked out for a day or two where you can't do anything, you get the flu, there's a family emergency, just life happens, just things that you just can't avoid happen, that does happen, then you've got the buffer. The buffer is all. And so, yeah, and just it's basically don't stop writing. Follow the outline as much as you can, or if the outline starts if you make a diversion, see where you can kind of it'll go back into the outline. Hopefully you've done enough prep work that you found a good solid ending to your story. Boy, that's the one thing though I find, like with an outline, if you find there's some wobbly bits in my outline, it's like I'm really feeling it right now because I haven't finished the story yet. Of course, it's going to be longer than 50,000 words. It's like, yeah, the wobbly bits, oh, you really feel the wobbly bits once you're actually your boots on the ground writing it, and you suddenly go, this doesn't work. Fuck, I have no motivation for my main character, or the motivation for my main character is really kind of isn't properly nailed down, and it makes the scenes kind of wobble around, and you think, oh shit. Well, and you think, oh well, that's second draft problems. That's second draft problems. We're still working on getting that going. So you don't edit. Possibly you even go, okay, I get my character to sit down for a while and just talk out his feelings, his thoughts, his motivations on the page, and that's all words that, yes, maybe it'll get cut out later. Yes, maybe there'll only be like one sentence of all this stuff that is there. But that's what first drafts are for, is for working things out. So that's all fine. So for me, as I've said, like, I hit 50,000 words already. So, I can stop. It's like, no. 50,000 words was my first goal for NaNoWriMo, and my second goal is to finish the story, is to get from the beginning of my outline all the way to the end of my outline and have that complete story for full first draft. And that is what I'll hopefully do by November the 30th. So that leads me to why? Why do this? Why do this? Why do this? So for me, I am not a wannabe published writer. I am not somebody who wants to. My great desire is not to publish my great work of literature or my bizarre erotic fantasy fiction. It's not. That is not my goal. That is not what I am here for. That is not my mission. And that makes things a lot more freeing for me, I have to say, for just being able to kind of whack out as silly and fun a story as I want to do. For me, I love to read. I'm a reader, is one of the ways I would self-identify myself, and I find that trying to actually write something that kind of approximates a novel's length, it's probably way shorter than any most modern novels are, it gives me a strange kind of appreciation, a lived appreciation of how hard it is to write, and how hard it is to wrestle even the most crappy, terrible, self-indulgent story into a shape, into kind of some kind of a shape. Really helps me appreciate it, even a badly done novel, and really makes me hopefully appreciate more a really well done novel, which I like to read well done novels, not crap that somebody first drafts that people wrote on NaNoWriMo, like myself. So yeah, that's probably a big thing. But I think the first reason that I do NaNoWriMo is I just love to write. I think it is so much fun to create a story, to be living in a story, to it's like the satisfaction of crafting something that works, that is like, oh, this is a story. And some of my later efforts that as I've gone along, I've started to actually feel that. Like I've read like my last NaNoWriMo novel. It was like, oh, hey, actually I put it away for a while, and then I read it, and it's like, oh, that's kind of fun. I'm enjoying that. Now I've pulled it apart for editing, and it's fucking sucks now, but I enjoyed it at the time. So yeah, I've been doing this for like 10 years now, and I've gotten up to the point where I'm actually finishing first drafts of stories. So my next goal for myself for NaNoWriMo, of my continuing journey of being a hobbyist writer, is to just take those drafts and take a fully finished first draft, and then now edit it into a completed, edited, this is as good as I'm going to get it kind of final draft of the story, which is what I'm doing with my NaNoWriMo from 2022 at the moment, is what I'm doing with that. I have actually had to put that aside because God, the amount of editing that's had to go on, the amount of, that whole first kind of one plot is just like, oh, this didn't work. This is boring. Oh, so maybe I should just take that out and start over again. So yeah, I've had to do that, which is been an experience in itself. It's putting me through yet more writerly experiences, and hopefully giving me more of a appreciation, a more of, as I said, kind of a lived appreciation of what it takes to write a novel. And man, it just gets tougher and tougher, but also funner and funner. So, I've gotten my, as I said, I've gotten over 50,000 words this month already, but I'm going to finish what I did. And then the next thing would be to say, okay, then I've got to kind of straighten things out. I've got to work on, yeah, that character's motivation. Why are they doing what they're doing? And do I have to wrestle them to this, or is this pointing me in a different direction for the story? And kind of all that kind of discovery. Uh, it's 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 a different experience than simply, I have got a professional writer who's telling me a story and they take me along in the journey. It's like, no, no, someone's giving me the driving, giving me the wheel, and I'm driving. And holy shit, I just went off roading. And I'm struggling and I'm struggling and I'm trying to get myself back on the road. And wow, that is so much more intense of an experience. It's also way more exhausting and way tougher. And I have a feeling I'm gonna and end up lost in the wilderness in my Datsun for a long time before I ever get onto a side road. And I'm probably never going to get onto one of the super highways of actual successful writing. But what the hell? What the hell? It's fun. It's fun, and that's the primary thing. So that is how I do NaNoWriMo, and that is why I do NaNoWriMo. Is anyone clamoring for this video? No, but I thought I'd share.